the guys at Hardman's, I may never have played volleyball with those guys had we not had something like this. So I get to know them a little bit better. They get to know me a little bit better, and maybe we support each other's businesses down the road because of it. And, maybe they create some habits that they didn't have before that were good, and maybe it adds 5 or 10 years to their life.
Welcome back to another episode of For Your Health podcast, sponsored by Roane General Hospital. I'm your host, Andrew Miller. Very happy to be joined by a couple of buddies here today. We've got the Director of Medical Fitness and Kyle Raines back for another podcast, and back for another podcast, Quinton Keaton. Very excited to talk to both of you guys again. I talked with Kyle a couple of times about data-driven stuff with the For Your Health podcast. Very excited about the podcast that you and I had, Quinton, though. A chance to talk to you about that great thing that you did. You're an Iron Man, and that's a cool thing. We could get into some of that stuff you guys would like, but we're going to talk about something really neat that was a brainchild of, which one of you, by the way, was the brainchild of?
Well, so
I don't know.
The conversation that I had was with Dave McCutcheon. That's how I got involved with it. Was Dave and I are always sort of brainstorming, coming up with new things. And then I think at the same time, Kyle and Jeff and maybe even Doug were having a conversation up here about doing something similar, and that's where we sort of joined forces there.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah.
Great minds of this world. First off, thank you guys for joining us. I do appreciate you guys giving us your time. I know it's not always the easiest thing to do, especially as a business owner for you. You're a busy man with a family. So thank you for giving us your time. I'll try not to keep you too long this time.
All good.
I hope you were able to get your kid off the bus last time. I don't
No, I did, yeah.
Oh, okay, good. So let's dig into what is the Corporate Cup. This is a really neat thing, and it's not just a fun thing, although it was very fun to watch what I got to see of it, but it's also tying into health and wellness, honestly, in Roane County. We were talking with Doug Benson, the last podcast that I had with him, and he was talking about changing the culture in Roane County when it comes to health and wellness, be it physical, mental, whatever it may be. Obviously, we're fighting some pretty big odds. We're fighting a lot of cultural issues where people are just not used to doing those kind of things. People are used to heading to McDonald's, going through the drive-thru, going home, not being active, being very sedative, the lifestyles, the chronic risk factors, all that stuff is rolled into what is trying to be fought with this Prescription for Your Health program. The Corporate Cup, although it may not have been designed for that, has obviously done exactly that. You had a lot of people who are in their mid-20s, mid-30s, mid-40s, mid-50s, mid-60s who were involved in this Corporate Cup. So I'll leave it up to you guys to talk about, number one, what is the Corporate Cup? And how did it come about, other than just having a couple conversations, because there's logistics involved. So what is the Corporate Cup here in Roane County?
Yeah, so ours, there's different variations. I mean, I think Charleston had one a few years ago, and I think theirs might have been just like on one day. I could be wrong. I could have been looking up something else too. But ours, this past year we went like 6 or 7 weeks, something like that. And we had a bunch of just events. So like one of them was beach volleyball and a little cornhole tournament. So we had that twice. So we had like a kickoff event with that, and then our end event, we had that too. And then throughout, we had teams participate in pickleball. We had a big pickleball tournament. The patch, the dash and splash. So we had everybody come out and participate in that. So you got points for where you scored at, and then if you just came, you got some points there. The dash and splash, I'm going blank. Ping pong,
Golf.
Golf
Was a big one.
Yeah, golf was a big one. Yeah, because it was kind of going throughout. So teams would you'd had 2 weeks to essentially play. So you'd kind of meet or talk with the other team there, schedule time to go out and play. Yeah, and so that was all for last year. Yeah, so we had Hardman's win it last year. They had a pretty good team, and you kind of going back to what you said, trying to change the culture. I mean, that's kind of the kind of the big overarching picture is trying to just get people involved with stuff as they're growing. I think a lot of folks around here, they kind of do a lot for their kids, which you should be, but kind of if you think about it, when was the last time you did something for yourself? You played a sport for yourself, or did some kind of competition or something, for yourself. So that was kind of a big idea behind it too.
Well, I think Quinn, you and I have discussed when we're talking about wanting to be competitive still, as an adult, with life getting in the way. And for you, the way that you've attacked being competitive is the way that you've done it. You've, of course, done the Ironman now, and you always want to do things to challenge yourself. And here's a great opportunity for these people who, again, some of them are people who are active and wanted to also do this, but some people have not been so active, but still wanted to get a chance to see how much fun it was. I wonder how much from that event last year, how many people continued their journey after seeing a little bit of competitive juices getting back into them, if that was something that was able to be fed a little bit more into them. I hope it was.
Yeah. No, I think it was. I mean, I see people at the park now that had never played pickleball that are now training pickleball to be able to be the corporate cup pickleball champs
They
this
went out
year.
and bought their own rackets. And all the gear.
The volleyball court at Handy Mart, we've seen several people utilizing that. The net's down right now, but it's going back up soon. And multiple other things I've seen people doing because of corporate cups. So I think that that's absolutely true, that people have continued it. And another thing that we didn't mention was the gym aspect of it too.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, so
we allowed, you got points just for coming to the gym, just coming in.
Okay.
We kind of capped it at a certain point because RGH, we'd obviously win that, come to the gym. But
stacking the odds,
just clocking in.
So we kind of just to kind of even it out, so make it fair there. So we had a cap on gym visits, so that was something else we did too.
But for our first year doing it, and sorry to interrupt you.
No
there,
worries.
For our first year of doing it, I think it went pretty smooth. I think Kyle, kudos to him. He's the one that sort of did all the logistics of it. We had it set up to we allowed 10 teams in last year, so 10 businesses around the community and up to 10 members on each team. So we had up to 100 people that could participate in the corporate cup. This year we're going to expand on that a little bit. But last year we had 10 teams. Each team had a captain. So Kyle would communicate with the captains weekly. He would update them on who was playing golf. He had charts with who was going to play golf against each person each week, and that was all on your own. So we had these organized events with the volleyball tournament, the cornhole tournament, the pickleball tournament, the run, and the ping pong stuff. But the other stuff was like you do it on your own. It's on an honor system. You go play golf against this team. Tell us your score, and Kyle will record the points to see who's in the lead. And then he would send out weekly updates on what team was winning. And really, ultimately Hardman's won at the end, but it was anybody's game up until the last event.
I mean, there's a kind of a three-way kind of chase there for first, and then they pulled it out with the beach volleyball. They brought their A game.
Yeah, I was there for the beach volleyball,
which was a lot of fun.
Which was a lot of fun to see some middle-aged people try to attempt to play volleyball in sand.
Yeah,
volleyball's hard enough.
Oh yeah, that sand really
brutal.
Made a lot of fun. But we learned a lot from last year, and we've had some meetings and behind the scenes. So it did just start out as an idea that we threw around, but we did have several meetings and organized this in a way that it ran pretty smooth. And this year is going to be even better. We're going to allow more teams in. One of the qualms that we had from some of the teams were, we only have 2 or 3 employees, so it's not really fair, which we get that. So we're making provisions to accommodate those companies as well. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think Jack Garrett Ford's going to win it this year.
Oh,
I'm just going to say it.
The gauntlet has been thrown down already.
Throw the challenge out to that Hardman team. We're coming for you.
We're coming for you, Hardmans.
It's a traveling trophy, so I want to get that. Yeah, I want to get the Doug Bentz that size trophy back.
Let me ask you this: how did you guys come up with a point system for this? And again, how long was this event? I know it was multiple weeks. I didn't even think to ask how many weeks this was. What time frame is it, and if you're adding events, how long it may be this year, and what the point system was?
Yeah. So this past year, it was 6 or 7 weeks. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. For this year, we don't have an exact date. We're still playing around with trying to miss a couple big events. We want to try to get everybody to go to stuff that they need to, but we're looking at a lot longer, kind of whole summer. You can kind of expect whole summer before I say an actual date there. But as far as the point system, it was kind of on whatever the event was. So most tournament style stuff, it was like first place gets 5, second was 3, and third place was 1 or something like
Yeah.
that. The golf was pretty much just 5 points if you win. I think we did 2 points if you lost 2. So even if you're going out,
Yeah.
you got it
As long
there.
as you go
If you
out.
forfeited, you
Yeah.
didn't get anything.
Yeah.
But if you were out there,
Mhm.
at least giving it a go.
I'm sure the golf course appreciated that too.
Yeah,
Appreciate the
I
business.
think so.
Yeah.
I think didn't they mention to you that
It's something
they
like
like
yeah,
seeing some
yeah.
people out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went
Yeah.
out on just like a random Wednesday, and it was packed. I mean, there's 2 or 3 of our teams or corporate cup teams, so that's really you're looking at like 12, 16 people or something like that, right? Playing on their own, and then they had all the people that were there was a couple
People that are
other
already
groups
there, yeah.
that weren't
Yeah.
like affiliated with us there, going.
Well,
And
let's
but-
ask this: what events are we looking at this year? Are the events from last year still going to be there? Is there anything that's going to be taken away? What's going to be added? I know that's not finalized yet, but what are the plans for this year?
Well, we got a lot of fun stuff
Oh, yeah.
planned. Definitely the same events are in there, and then a couple other new ones. I know last year we had aspirations of doing a big field day event at the end of the year, and we did have a water balloon toss
Yeah, oh, yeah,
at the end of
yeah.
you saw that, didn't you? Wasn't you
I
there for
missed
that?
the water.
Yeah.
Oh, you
balloon
missed it.
toss,
So that was
yeah.
sort of fun, but so we have some plans on doing stuff like that, but there may be some dodgeballs involved this year, and
Oh my gosh,
some other things, kickball maybe.
dodgeball. Let's hope nobody gets too competitive.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, speaking of competitive, we talked about that's something that people may enjoy doing is reigniting that competitive spirit that they may have or whatever it may be. But why is it so important for adults to be involved in this type of thing, this event? Because without even knowing it, people are getting out, they're getting some exercise, they're moving their bodies a little bit more. They're going to feel it.
Yeah.
Especially people who may have been sedentary for a while. They're going to feel it. Why is it so important for people in this community who are business owners or people part of corporations to be active like this?
Well, for me, I think there's multiple reasons why people should do this. Another thing that we haven't even really ever mentioned is that the teams can be comprised of family members too. So employees and family members. So it gives the people a chance to participate if they do have kids with their kids and compete with them. But it's for mental well-being. All of our stuff, except a couple of things, by design, we're built to be outside because we're
Yeah.
trying to get people outside, get that vitamin D, and then we're trying to get corporations together or businesses together to learn other people and what they do. So the guys at Hardman's, I may never have played volleyball with those guys had we not had something like this. So I get to know them a little bit better. They get to know me a little bit better, and maybe we support each other's businesses down the road because of it. And maybe they create some habits that they didn't have before that were good, and maybe it adds 5 or 10 years to their life.
This is something that I see that's something that, again, is a passion of yours, Quinton, and you mentioned family members. That's something that's been a big part of your life is trying to involve your kids in a lot of the activities that you're doing in some way or another, even if you're training for something specific, trying to get your kids involved and try to teach them at an early age those proper habits.
Yeah.
So that's something that you're bringing to this, whether knowingly or unknowingly, I think.
Yeah, and we saw that with other teams too. There was other teams that we had 7 and 8 year old kids on the volleyball court. We had 7, 10-year-old kids on the pickleball court. Tons of young kids at the Dash and Splash.
Yeah.
I mean, the overall enrollment for our Dash and Splash, which is usually a big event, but this year was bigger than ever, was because of all the corporate cup people.
Yeah.
And so many kids were there from all these corporations. So it was good to see families getting together. We work so much. It's nice to be able to get out and do stuff with friends and family members.
On top of the fact that the kids can get involved in this, I never thought of this in terms of like a healthy, happy staff. You're a business owner. I'm a business owner. That's not something I ever would have really taken into consideration, honestly. But that's something, Kyle, that's extremely important. Is if you want to have a successful business, you got to have happy, healthy, workers.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an opportunity for a business owner to maybe nudge their people into that realm that they're not familiar with.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. and it's not just the happiness part, right? Like a lot of times, if you have these good kind of like these events, these programs people can be into, the people aren't calling off as much. They get a little bit healthier. They don't have as many doctor's appointment. That's a pretty big idea behind it. Again, they're just happier. A lot of times, one of the teams was like, "Yeah, man, we look forward to this. Like, we talk about it all week. Like, oh, are you okay? You're on this pickleball team with this guy, and like, they're kind of strategizing. So they're kind of a lot more like just the whole, uh, I guess mood at your business kind of rises up once you kind of get that competitiveness, and then like it kind of just gives you something to kind of look forward to. I know I think a lot of times when you get to be a little bit older, in the late 20s, early 30s, and you start to age, you kind of get in the rut of like just going to work, go home,
The day-to-day monotony
rinse, wash, repeat, just over and over. So I think this is really good. Like this gives you like for me, I was former athlete, so that's kind of like my world revolved around that. So this kind of gives me a little bit of an outlet to be like, oh yeah, I've got pickleball tonight, or we got the beach volleyball tonight or whatever. And I'm trying to get up on golfing, so this is a good
fantastic
way to get me out there.
Listen, that's one of my favorite recreational sports for sure.
Golf, yeah.
Yeah, it's good times. So, what do you see as the ultimate goal in the future for this thing? Obviously, last year was the pilot year, first year, and it was successful, as you guys said. 10 teams, over 100 people involved in a 3 to 4 week or 5 week program. It's going to be a little longer this year, more events this year, hopefully more teams this year, more involvement from the community. What is the ultimate goal of this? Is it just simply the excitement of competing again, or is there something else that you guys are looking to in the future, or do you even know yet what it's going to become?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of growing it as we do it there. The ultimate goal, we definitely want this to be a long-term kind of, I guess, maybe tradition. I don't know if that's maybe the right way, but just kind of something you kind of people look forward to, every summer. I remember for a long time there, like the Relay for Life, that was a really big, big thing. So it's kind of something people look forward to in the summer. And like we were talking at the beginning there, kind of trying to get that culture change. So if people are like, because a lot of times around here, if I feel like if someone's out for a run, it's almost like, what's that crazy person doing?
Right.
Where if you go to, I don't know, if you go to like Boston, like the city of Boston, right?
Yeah.
And somebody's out on the run, like, yeah, they're running, like everybody runs here.
Yeah, there's a bunch
the
of people
Boston
doing
Marathons
that.
Yeah,
here.
even
Like,
Charleston, Huntington, Parkersburg, the bigger. Yeah.
So just trying to get like that, just slowly get that culture change to where like it's okay to kind of take time for yourself, do exercise out on your own, and kind of set an example, for your kids. They see mom and dad out exercising, running, doing whatever, and that kind of slowly starts to I guess change over time.
But I think when it can be a great opportunity to bond with your kids, obviously,
Yeah.
In a positive way. There's so many options and so many avenues to be involved with your kids that may not be quite as good, still not bad, but this is a great way to teach them healthy habits while making good memories with them. Again, Eddie, you could speak to that probably as well as anybody when it comes to being healthy and doing that with your kids.
Yeah, even after Corporate Cup, I even played another tournament with Lincoln at pickleball. And that's something I would have never even thought that we could have done together. But he's actually better than me, so it was good to. And Allegra, she did the volleyball with us, and Alistair loves walking and running up the trails. So all of that stuff just added to their passion for the stuff, just like mine. And but as far as terms as where I'd like to see it go, I'd like to see every business in the area at least give it a shot. No matter what the size is, I don't want them to be intimidated that we only got 2 employees. It doesn't matter. You got 2 employees. Join for we're going to let people join forces this year. That's one of the modifications we're making it to it alternate for the better, hopefully.
Yeah.
So we'll explain that a little bit more later. But I'd like everyone to give it a shot and see if it doesn't improve their business a little bit and their life a little bit.
Yet I think that will give businesses a chance to look forward to something every single year in and year out, something that is not a part of the actual job. Because again, we all know that, as you said, a job can become very monotonous if you're sticking with a company and trust me, business owners want people to stay with the company. If you're a good worker, we want to facilitate you being there because we want to keep and retain these people. And one way to do that is to think outside the box. It's not just to get complacent in that, well, they're here, they're going to be here every day. Got to offer some things to them, some opportunities to have some fun, some opportunities to get away from just I'm the boss, you're the worker kind of deal, and to get that camaraderie built up, which is really, really fun. I'm looking forward to whatever you guys are going to scheme up this year with all the sports that you have. So if somebody is interested in this, if a business owner or if a corporation is interested in getting involved this year, how in the world do they get in touch with you guys? How do they sign up for this? Do you have the stipulations yet, or is it kind of fluid at the moment?
We've got another meeting coming up here on May 5th. Is that our next meeting?
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have like this year we're gonna have like a little like a registration window. Last year it was it was a big learning curve, so we were kind of winging a lot of stuff.
It wasn't haphazard, but it wasn't exactly set in stone.
Right.
Yeah, so
it came together pretty quick last year.
So this year we're gonna have like a registration window that we have to be into. We'll have more information kind of coming out. Like we're still finalizing some dates on some stuff. You know, there's some other events we're trying to avoid, just so everybody can do everything that Spencer has to offer there. But so more info will be coming out. We'll have a little registration window. Basically, you'll just have to email me, and then we'll get you set up there. So I'll put my email out on that post there.
He's gonna give it out to everybody in the community. Oh gosh.
Yeah. So that and then we'll have this year we're gonna have like a team's captains meeting, like an in-person meeting. So that way we can kind of go over this is kind of what we got planned. This is the kind of soft cap on the events. We're kind of little lenient on some with weather and this and that, right? And we can also just kind of, I think last year we were trying to plan like a third beach volleyball game, but it didn't quite work out. So we may get halfway through and like, let's do another.
Might have to call an audible.
Let's add events quickly.
Yeah.
But so you'll get all the info on when stuff is, what the rules are for each thing. Because like with golf, like you said, it's a lot of it was kind of like on an honor system, going out playing.
Nobody's ever cheated at golf. What are you talking about?
Of course not. But
nobody's pencil whipped a 46 on an 18-hole scramble, right?
yeah. But
one of the most viral videos ever.
But yeah, so they'll get all that info and there's a couple people that were talking to me after we'd already started. They're like, man, I wish I would have kind of known what it was gonna be. I think they weren't quite sure how it was gonna go, what events we were gonna do. Kind of weren't really sure on it. So we want to get all that info out to people as soon as we can, and so that way you can kind of get signed up and get one of our spots, because we're only have so many spots there. I won't say how many that gets just yet, but
you are going to expand. You're just not quite sure.
Yeah. Well, we got a good idea. But, so I think right now best thing to do is follow your Facebook page.
Okay. Yeah.
Follow Roane General's Hospital page.
Yeah.
Follow Jack Garrett Ford Facebook page and follow Patch Facebook page. All four of us together are pretty good about getting out what's going on and trying to share that. So I mean that's going to be your number one resource right now is probably Facebook, and then as we proceed, Kyle will be sending out some emails. And now, my question for you is: WRC going to have a team this year?
Possibly. I hadn't thought of that, but possibly.
Yeah.
As long as it starts after baseball and softball season is finished, then I can pretty confidently say that at least we can have a couple people involved.
Yeah.
I will not be involved until June, but it's possible. Let me just say it's possible. How about this? It depends on my consistency at the gym over the next 3 or 4 weeks. I've talked with Kyle about being miserable the last few days, but hopefully we can do that. I would like to join it. I think, again, I'm a small business. I only have 3 employees, 4 if you count Swolby, but I don't, because he's certainly not going to be involved in this because he's lazy. But anyways, I'm one of those smaller businesses that would probably have to kind of combine up with some other teams, which would be fine with me.
Yeah, which we're working on the details of that provision, but I think it'll be fair for everyone. That's what a lot of these things that we come out with. It's always like, well, is this going to be fair? Roane General Hospital is one of the biggest employers in the county. We've got a fair amount of employees, so we don't want anybody to feel like this is biased towards bigger companies at all. I mean, Casto and Harris last year, they were one of the top few teams.
Yeah, they only had that three-team race at the end.
Yeah, and they only had 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how big or small your employee count is. We're making provisions to make it work for everybody.
Heck yeah.
In a fair way.
Okay.
But not so much that you guys can beat us easily.
Yeah.
Listen, if I competed in any of these events, it would be strictly for recreation and for exercise.
And that's what it is.
There would be no competition involved in my brain. I have, let's just say I haven't lost the competitive balance in my life, but I'm just trying to survive right now. I'm trying to get better at being less fat and more active. So, but it'll be fun no matter what. So we do appreciate you guys putting this thing together. We hope that it's going to be great again and again, each and every year. It's hopefully something that more businesses will look forward to. You can expand it as much as you truly want, honestly, within the parameters of how much time you guys have, how much time and how much space everybody else has. But it's going to be a fun thing. So I know you've been kind of tight-lipped or coy about the things that are coming. You're not quite sure, so you don't want to give all this stuff away. Can you at least give us an idea of some of the new sports that are going to take place in this, or some of the new events that are going to take place this year?
Yeah. So we talked a little bit. So nothing's going away. All the stuff from last year, it's all the same. We kind of maybe hinted at some dodgeballs and some kickballs. A little field day. I think one.
Is a dodgeball going to be inside or outside?
Probably outside.
Yeah.
I mean, we want people to be outside in the summer. I mean, that's one of the goals, is getting people outside, engaged.
Put them on the tennis courts at Washington Park and let them go at it.
There's a few different locations we've got an idea for, and the old batting cage there below. Really tight quarters. And we're doing it with softballs, not dodgeballs. No.
Oh my God.
Not really. We're working on the details still.
Yeah. And then, I mean, one, I'm pretty excited for this one, and it's gonna kind of be on your own, but you'll just kind of get to go through some different trails throughout Spencer, which is, I think that one's gonna be pretty neat. Kind of excited for that one. That one may not look as flashy as dodgeball, but
it's going to be neat. You're right. I agree, because there's so many great trails around here that people don't realize that are here and available for them.
Yeah.
So obviously the trail system that you guys have been involved with, Quinton, there behind Ben's Run, is part of that, I would assume.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, there's more than just that, although that is a great system. But there's more than that in Roane County.
Yeah. Charles Fork Lake, Civil War trails, and then your most recent trail people here at Roane General Hospital, they've got trails here now that's a really nice trail. It's great.
Yeah.
People got to check it out. I think it's complete now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All the bridges and everything. Yeah.
Providing different opportunities and different avenues to be active. That's kind of your life right now, Quinton, even though you're a business owner.
Stay active.
On the outside of that, you stay active, and you just filter it into other people.
Yeah.
You made me start walking again, I'll tell you that.
Well, it's nice to have the social aspect of it, too.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a person that likes to talk, and it's nice to have someone there to bend their ear and you get your ear bent back, and it's nice to be able to kick ideas off of people, and so it's good to get out and get active with other people.
That's where Quinton comes up with some of these crazy ideas. He's bending ears, taking it back, I tell you.
Yeah.
Guys, I appreciate your time, obviously. Last year was a great success. We look forward to the information coming out soon, and we look forward to having an even bigger and more successful corporate cup. And listen, maybe Jack Garrett's year this year. Who knows?
Maybe the hospital might have something to say about it too. Though I don't know.
I've been recruiting this year.
It's not fair. They got a former collegiate athlete.
Yeah,
that's messed up.
Yeah, they've recruited all the.
That don't help my golf game any. So,
see, that's where we're going to come back in the golf side.
The golf side, yeah.
Guys, appreciate your time. Great information for the corporate cup. Great ideas, of course. You guys continue to have wonderful ideas to get people active in Roane County, and again, to change the culture into an active society here in Roane County. Part of it is just having some fun, and you guys have built another good thing here in Roane County.
Yeah.
Great stuff, guys. Thank you very much.